Effective with Ina Esco is an interview-style podcast that intersects art, culture, politics, and entertainment with a Memphis focus. Each week, I'm joined by a featured guest with roots in Memphis. Verbally Effective delves into each guest's personal journey to uncover the incredible stories fueling their purpose, the highs and lows of their pursuits, and how through their passion, they are moving the culture forward.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Howard Q hanging out with Double E Ina Esco on the Verbally Effective podcast. Player.
Hey, it's your girl Shayna J with SJ Entertainment, here to fulfill all of your entertainment needs. And I'm with my girl Ina Esco with the Verbally Effective podcast.
Hey, it's Ina Esco right here on WYXR 91.7 FM Memphis. I am in the studio live today with some special guests. We are here with Verbally Effective Podcast, the podcast that intersects art, culture, politics, entertainment with a Memphis focus. That's right. And I have some beautiful young ladies with me in the building who are heading up the Green Fork Project. This project is all about eliminating food waste, sustainability, things that you all should be thinking about. I am talking about Manning and Leann Edwards. How are you, ladies?
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's so good to see you all. We probably met a couple of months or so back, talking about this wonderful project that you all are heading up. Before we get into Green Fork Project, I would love for both of you ladies, starting with Leann, to introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about you and your relationship with Memphis, since this is a Memphis podcast.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm Leann Edwards. I'm the program manager for Project Green Fork, which is a program of Clean Memphis. I've been with Project Green Fork for about a year now, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we have here in the community. I've been living in Memphis with my family for almost 10 years, so I wasn't born here, but I hold it in my heart. It is home now. And I'm just super thankful to call myself a Memphian.
Where are you originally from?
Originally from Alabama, and came here via Charlotte, North Carolina.
Gotcha. Well, it's so good to see you again, Leann. Allie?
Yes, I'm Allie Manning, food scientist and program consultant for Project Green Fork right here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm not a Memphis native either, but I love Memphis. I do.
Okay, so we have to spill the beans where you're originally from.
I am also from Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. I've been in Memphis 13 years now.
Wow, and I know y'all love Memphis, don't you?
Yes, of course. I live just a stone's throw away from this building that we're in and call it home.
And guess what, ladies? I'm a transplant to Memphis as well, but I've been here since 1995.
Wow.
So, when I tell people that, they're like, you from Memphis.
Yeah, that counts.
For sure.
Okay, cool. So let's get into the Green Fork Project. I know since I last spoken with you ladies, so many things have, just come to fruition with this project. So let's start with Leann. Tell me about how Green Fork Project came all about and what it is.
So Project Green Fork was started back in 2008, actually, as a way for restaurants to focus on sustainability and have support in doing that. It came on board with Clean Memphis, who was already working in the community, community beautification and community engagement, and that happened around 2015. And since then, we continue to work with restaurants and have great relationships with our restaurant partners in town. We've also started diving into work around food loss and waste in the community. And this restaurant challenge that we're going to talk about today is a way to sort of bridge both of those things, to support restaurants in their efforts to reduce food waste and use that as a way to educate the community and on why it's important to support restaurants that are doing those things, and also why it's important to do those things in our own homes.
Okay, so you all have already kicked off the project. Allie, tell me about when you all first approached the restaurants about this project. What were the reactions, good and bad?
You know what? We've had a mixed bag of reactions when it comes to the challenge. We've had folks who are gung-ho and excited. Those who are already inclined to do this work are already going to be interested. The ones that we have struggled with, they don't quite see the value right now, but we have such great media buy-in and partnerships with Memphis Tourism and RDC that are going to allow this to grow beyond what we could even imagine. So I'm confident that the 8 participating restaurants will continue to pilot this and help the community understand the impact of this work.
Gotcha. So if you approached me about, if I was a restaurant owner, right, and you approached me about being involved with the Green Fork Project, what would you say to me?
So I would say, hi, I'm Allie Manning with Project Green Fork. We are a restaurant sustainability program. We are kicking off the 901 Save the Food Challenge. Now, that may not be the technical name yet. We're working on the branding for it all.
Gotcha.
But we're interested in saving food, and would you like to be a part? Here's how to get started. And so Leann has been great about helping us with the copy and the verbiage for this project. And so the way that we approach it is more of a heartfelt. How can we begin to make improvements in our own communities and our own homes and see the big picture of why we're doing this work in the first place?
Gotcha. So, look, I'm trying to get my chair together before I fall over. Leann, tell me about what has the process been so far with the project?
Sure.
How has it been going?
I think it's been going great. We have, Allie's great at forming those relationships and getting people interested. And then, it's been a really hard several years for restaurants in general. And everybody has a different priority, things that they need to happen to make their restaurant run from day to day. And so when we're coming at it, at this project, it's, is this about an environmental segue? Are there economic benefits to reducing food waste, which there absolutely are, and are there social benefits? We have lots of ways we can talk about it. And even if you maybe consider that your restaurant doesn't produce much food waste or lose much food, the reality is it happens for whatever reason. Every piece of food has a story. No one wants it to be going into the trash can, but it does happen for one reason or another. So the way that we've kicked it off is through these waste assessments that I think have been really eye-opening for our contributing restaurants, where we ask them just to hold on to a full day. What did a whole day look like in your restaurant space, front and back of house? And then we take that off-site and we literally go through the trash, and we see what's in there and how we can be supportive and show them ways that they can change what their waste streams look like. And we find that most restaurants have a pretty high opportunity for diversion out of the landfill. So whether that is repurposing foods in a way creatively to have new specials while they're still delicious and wholesome, or whether that is composting, or whether it's even recyclables, inorganic, non-food recyclables. There's a lot of opportunity that restaurants have. And so once we go back, we make a form for them, show them what it was made up of, and we have photographs of all the whole process, and people have been really eye-opened. And then we can take that information and suggest ways to reduce food waste through the course of this challenge.
Wow, you are literally going through a day's worth of the restaurant's trash.
Oh, we sure are.
So, Allie, talk to me about what that looks like.
Well, you know what? It's a lot better than it sounds. It
Is it?
really is a lot better than it sounds.
Okay.
So we have a really great system right now. We have buckets that are labeled with inedible, edible, compostable, recyclable, and landfill. And so we lay out the trash on a table. Of course, it's all covered. We've got our hazmat suits on and masks on.
Some dirty work,
I
dirty
can't
work.
believe I'm talking about this right now. And we sort through based on what it is. And it's given us a really great snapshot of where there is room for improvement and how we can provide some strategies for that. And so we've got great relationships with our recycling partners, the composting partners, and so we know exactly where to go to solve some of these problems. And we want people to understand that these problems are not ones that we can't solve.
Gotcha. Now, after your waste assessments, tell me what has been like the number one need for improvement so far.
Everyone's a little bit different because their restaurants are all a little bit different. And so that's where we really think that we can be of value, is because it's not one size fits all. The general stat is that somewhere around 70% of restaurant food waste comes from plate waste. But we haven't actually found that in a lot of our assessments. We've found that a lot of the restaurants we're working with are already right-sizing their servings, and people are either eating it all or taking it home. But it really is about what's specific to that restaurant. And you know, because of how busy they are, because there's a lot of turnover, there's a lot of just education that goes into it, it's a really great place for us to step in. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees if you're in it so deeply, and we have the opportunity to look at very minute details and take back tangible work that can be done.
For sure.
Are the restaurant owners always inclined to incorporate those changes after your assessment?
I mean, for the most part, it saves them money, you know? Like, that's a big part, too, is that these need to be viable restaurants. They need to be able to keep their doors open. And so if what we're showing them, specifically in reducing food waste at its source, which is the highest goal for us, is to reduce it from before it even happens, we're showing them ways not to spend extra money in their facilities.
Yeah.
And it's bringing it to the forefront of everyone's mind again. You know, I think post-pandemic, we're still struggling through those woes, but we're coming in with some facts, some information, so that they can re-engage amongst themselves as well.
Gotcha. Wow. So I know you guys started this project originally right here in Crosstown. How did you choose Crosstown to get the project started off?
So we're working in Crosstown. We're also in Evergreen and Valentine Evergreen, and we really wanted to keep it a tight geographical loop for a couple reasons. For one thing, here in Memphis, we love to support our neighborhoods, and we want to have this challenge work in a way that we can get the communities surrounding the restaurants involved and visiting often. And so it's good for that, for a geographical sense. For us as a team, it also allows us to provide more one-on-one technical assistance. If everyone's sort of grouped together, it's very easy for us to get from restaurant to restaurant as we can be helpful. And it also creates a sense of community within the restaurants who are participating in the area. I mean, just in our own professional lives, it's really easy to get in silos. And when you're trying to keep your restaurant running, you probably know who's down the street from you, but maybe you don't gain information from each other or share information or best practices in the way that you could. So keeping it in this neighborhood approach allows for there to be champions who are already Project Green Fork certified and have been doing the work for a really long time, and some newcomers, and they can work together to share what they know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you know, Crosstown, we met with a property, Tom Cowens, and Crosstown has a commitment to sustainability anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of built into the structure here, and because we live in the neighborhood, it also made it a nice space for us to pilot the project.
Yes. Well, tell me about some of the actual restaurants you've been working with in this pilot.
Yeah, we're adding them on as they'll come on board. We're really excited. So we first have our Project Green Fork certified restaurants that I mentioned. We have 3 that are certified, and that would be Echo and Tonica, which are over in Evergreen, and Cafe Eclectic, which is in Valentine Evergreen. And so we're using our Project Green Fork certified restaurants and restaurant tours as a champions, if you will, because this is work that's familiar to them, although we are still trying to help in the same ways. And then we have included over here Global Cafe. We have Mad Grocer and Deli, which is brand new, and we're so excited to have them in the space and in the challenge with us.
Lucy J's. We have Crosstown Arts Bar upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have a couple of friends of the challenge. So Sweet Magnolia and Crosstown Brewery, where we're kicking off 901 Save the Food Day Challenge.
We sure are.
From 3 to 5 down at Crosstown Brewery. The first beer is on us.
And when is this?
Friday,
901 day.
901 day.
901. Oh, that's going to be cute.
Yeah, we know there's a lot going on in the community, but we wanted to use this as an opportunity for the restaurants to get together one time if they can, to kick it off, and then us just to be able to be out in the community and sharing what's going on.
Okay. So this is the first round with the pilot, and is it still in process?
Oh yeah, the restaurants will be practicing these strategies and techniques that we're working on through the month of September.
Through the month of September. Okay. And what's the next phase?
The next phase is downtown Memphis. We're
Hey.
focusing in on the north end, south end of downtown, and doing some prospecting now. So if there's some restaurants that are interested, go ahead and email us. Go ahead and call us now. But we've been doing some digging and touching base with all of those on the south end of downtown and many of our PGF restaurants as well to see if there's interest and begin to move the needle forward in that location.
What does a potential prospect look like? Could it be any restaurant, or does it have to fit a certain mold?
We welcome any restaurant.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we welcome any restaurant. Generally, I'm looking for restaurants that are likely inclined to recycle or use a compostable, biodegradable to-go-ware. That's not always easy to see, but when I go in and observe, or I've already built these relationships in the past, you go in, you ask some questions, and then, go from there. It's kind of like you throw your hat in the bag and see what happens and hope for the best. But our goal is to capture at least 4 to 8 restaurants in whatever geographic location we're in. So if we've got 4 to 8, that's totally fine.
Yeah, and we are really trying to get our Project Green Fork certified restaurants on board in the midst of those numbers to act as our champions. And to Allie's point, a Project Green Fork certified restaurant does a multitude of steps already. They are trying to reduce food waste. They are working on energy and water efficiencies, compostables and recyclables for all of their takeouts and things like that. So they're doing more than what this challenge is focused on, which is just around food loss and waste. But we hope that these new restaurants that are joining the challenge and coming on board with us, that we can walk them through that process and hopefully see them become a Project Green Fork certified restaurant down the road.
Gotcha. So everything is progressing well for the Project Green Fork.
Yeah, it is. It is. We've got 2 really great events, that happen this year. And so we're constantly growing every year and gaining in our visibility and our impact. So that's this is just another way for us to do that.
Okay. So is the plan to hit up every, community in Memphis? Is that the ultimate goal?
We think this is going to be a multi-year project for
Gotcha.
us. So we want to work through Memphis. We have all these plans of a map that we can follow and highlight the neighborhoods as we make our way in and out. We know somewhere downtown has over 100 restaurants, so we'll have to hit that more than one time.
Memphis has a lot of restaurants.
It sure does, but we've got so many areas that we would love to highlight. We would love to bring some new restaurants on board, and so we'll be working our way through as many neighborhoods will take us, and as long as they'll let us keep running this challenge.
So is it just you 2 ladies that are actually doing the waste assessment?
Oh no,
It's still in my head. I'm envisioning you 2 going through the trash.
We lead it, but
we have a great team.
Yeah.
Clean Memphis, we have about 12 people on staff, and everyone is very collaborative, and so finds it fascinating. It really is. You might think that having this bag open of yesterday's waste smells or feels a certain way, but it's just so fascinating to see the potential.
Yeah.
And if you look at it in that way and not just like, oh, this is a task that I didn't know I was going to be doing today, really the whole team gets on board with it.
because you
Yes.
think about how you can do it in your own home, in your own personal life. Like you said, you don't realize the impact until you actually go through the trash.
Yeah.
For real. And it's funny you mentioned trash, because trash has been such a buzzword for me with the podcast lately. I just had Carol Coletta here, the CEO of Memphis River Parks Partnership, and she talked about trash a lot. She's obsessed with trash and just, eliminating out of the community.
Right,
In
yeah.
our parks.
Yeah, right. We're Clean Memphis actually is working on a launch right now of refillable water stations in partnership with some other community organizations, and with that focus, we want the same thing.
This sounds like a documentary that needs to go on Netflix. What you think, Allie?
Does Allie know somebody?
I
you
would
think?
There's no telling what's possible. You know, with our support, with the support of NRDC, National Resources Defense Council, there's no limit to how far the story can go. And because we've got strong branding around it coming out when we launch, I can see this going as far as we want it to go. But we just want more buy-in from our local restaurants for sure.
Okay, so if the local, this is my question for you ladies. Why does this matter ultimately? If you were to, doing your prospecting and it was a really hard sale, what would you tell these people? Why does, eliminating waste and sustainability matter in their restaurants?
Well, if you look at the statistics on a national level, we waste up to 40% of the food in the United States every year. That's just an enormous number to wrap your brain around.
It is 40?
Up to 40% of food in the United States is wasted every year. When we have lots of information on how to eliminate that to a certain extent, and it happens at every level. It happens, when things don't make it from the farm to the store, or from the store to your home, or you forget your leftovers, or the things that we see that happen in the restaurants that we're working through right now. So it's coming from all different directions. In fact, our own homes are the biggest contributor to food that goes into the landfill. We waste about 40% of the pie of food that's going into the landfill. Restaurants are second to that. They're about a 20% piece of that pie. And so it's when you know that that's happening, then it's hard not to try to figure out a way to reduce it in some way. And secondly, in Shelby County, we have a problem with food insecurity. We have above the national average. The national average is about 1 in 9 people being food insecure. In Shelby County, it's about 1 in 5. And so when we have the opportunity to find wholesome and delicious food that could go to feed one of our neighbors, then that's another way that we can eliminate the downstream effect of food waste, but also help the people who are in our own community. And I think everybody can get on board with that.
Yes, because that's what I'm thinking about as you mentioned those stats. Is so many homeless people out here, people that need food, and we're just wasting it.
Yeah, it's hard to think of those two things working together. 40% being wasted, but you have neighbors who need it.
Wow. Well, Leann and Allie, I have ultimately enjoyed you guys today for educating everyone here on the Verbally Effective podcast about Green Fork Project. I want you ladies to give the details on the 901 event that is coming up again, how people can participate in any upcoming projects that you all have.
All right. So we are kicking off our 901 Save the Food Challenge on 901 Day. We'll be down at Crosstown Brewing, and they're going to have, their own things going on. They're going to have some fun stuff happening, but we'll be doing food waste trivia. So if you think you've got some stats on food waste that you want to bring out, there will be prizes for the winner of that. And we'll just enjoy some good beer and some good times. And then what we would say for the month of September is, if you find yourself hungry, then support these restaurants that are involved in this restaurant challenge. And then October's when we'll be down on South Main Street, and so the details of those restaurants will be coming. And just continue to support. They need your support. We need your support, and it's for a good cause.
It is. And if I can add,
yes,
Reharvest Memphis. I've got to plug Reharvest Memphis while we're on the air. November 16th is when the event happens at Bill Street Landing. And Reharvest Memphis is a really special event. It's a fundraiser, a fall fundraiser, in which we have five chefs nailed down, will be gleaning food from the Mid-South Food Bank. Ms. Cordelia's is also Project Green Fork certified, and they're a partner of ours. So they'll glean food that may not be so pretty, to make the dishes for the event. And so it's a zero waste event, meaning that less than 10% is going into the landfill. And we want to begin to continue to socialize this work that we're doing and bring it to guest attention that you can have a zero waste event and you can use not so pretty food to make really delicious bites. So join us, Reharvest Memphis.
What's a not so pretty food? Give me an example.
Well, maybe you have an apple that's got a few bruises on it.
Oh, yeah.
And so you think about turning it into apple pie.
Yeah.
Or you have those vegetables that certainly never wilt in my refrigerator. Never. But when they maybe do, make them into soup. And so it might
gotcha.
not be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, to just bite into a raw vegetable that's been sitting there a little bit longer than you would have thought, but you can make it into something super delicious.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
You know what? My grandmother would say, we eating everything around
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
here. We gonna make something out of nothing.
Yep.
And I also thought of this for the 901 event at the brewery. They should make you guys a customized Green Fork beer. That would sound cute.
We did plug them about that, but we
Okay.
didn't have enough time. Last year, we actually had Reharvest at Grind City Brewery, in which they did make a custom beer out of some leftover apples from Ripley Farm. So they donated apples, I believe, was it apples?
Awesome.
And maybe pumpkins to make the beer for that night. So yes, we do work with breweries to make that type of stuff happen.
Gotcha.
And I do think that Crosstown Brewing is working on sourcing some of those ugly fruits that have hit the ground but are still perfectly wholesome and delicious, that they can turn into some good beer. That's just I think a little birdie told me that.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Is there a website everyone can go to keep up with what you guys are doing?
We're cleanmemphis.org or projectgreenfork.org, and we are working on a landing site for the challenge itself.
Okay.
So in the next few days, there'll be a place where people can go if they want to suggest restaurants, or find restaurants that they can attend, can go enjoy dinner at or lunch.
Yeah, learn more about the
Yeah,
challenge. Yeah, how to get engaged. Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me today on Verbally Effective. I hope more restaurants become more engaged and participate in the challenge with the Green Fork Project. Any final words from you all?
I'm just really grateful at the amount of support and engagement we've gotten from the restaurants in this area, and we want this to be a tangible and meaningful thing that we all share together.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Memphis's food waste goal is to reduce food waste by 50% by 2030. So we need your help.
Let's go,
We
Memphis.
need you.
We need you. 50% by 2020.
2030.
2030.
2030. I think we could do that.
It's already close enough. Don't shorten the timeline for us.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, ladies. Leann Edwards and Allie Manning with the Green Fork Project. Please tap into this amazing project about sustainability and eliminating food waste. If you are a restaurateur, make sure you participate in the upcoming challenges. Thank you so much for listening to the Verbally Effective Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, download today on all streaming platforms.